Hare Krishna. So I welcome you to our Saturday Feast program. So today we're going to discuss a very nice topic, a topic that all of us most likely can connect with. And the title of this topic, the topic is the importance of human form of life. So we were discussing this topic on our daily morning Srimad Bhagavatam sessions. So the Burbank temple runs daily morning Srimad Bhagavatam sessions every morning at 6:30 a.m. on weekdays and 7:30 on Sundays. So if you're not connected to us, please reach out to us and we can get you added to the group so that you can get verifications. So yes, so we were discussing this topic in our daily morning Srimad Bhagavatam sessions, and we discuss why not discuss in our Saturday Feast program as well, as the topic is really very relevant to all of us. So we're going to recap some of the discussions we did in that Bhagavatam session, but also we're going to delve a bit deeper as well. So the verse that we read on Srimad Bhagavatam on this topic was verse on Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2, Chapter 3, verse 17. And if you can repeat the verse after me. Ayur harati vai pumsam. Ayur harati vai pumsam. Udyan ashtam chayan aso. Udyan ashtam chayan aso. Tasya teyat shanonita. Tasya teyat shanonita. Uttama shloka vartaya. Uttama shloka vartaya. So the translation is, both by rising and setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone, except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all-good personality of Godhead. So this is a very popular verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is that is quoted very oftenly. And the verse focuses on the human form of life. How the purpose of the human form of life is to recognize our true identity, our true eternal relationship with Krishna, and then to render loving devotional service to Him. So, and also it emphasizes that time and tide waits for no one. As it says, with every rise and fall of the sun, our ayu, our tenure of this human form of life, this particular birth, is decreasing. So time and tide waits for no one, so we may have to make the best use of this time. So let's first discuss to understand, what is the importance of human form of life. First, understand that how many type of species are there in the universe. So we have read this a lot of times. So any guesses of how many species of human form of life? And I'm not going to ask the devotees. I'm going to ask people who are fairly new. Any guesses? 1,000, millions, billions? Yes, Swamiji, very right. 8,400,000. 84 lakh yoniya. 8,400,000 species. So these are just the species, but within that, there are innumerable amount of living entities in each of these species. So there could be, unlimited number of living entities that are here in this material creation. 8,400,000 is just a type of species. And in this 8,400,000 type of species, the human forms are of 400,000 only. So within humans, there are also so many varieties. So again, we can see if 8,400,000 is a type of species, and currently we all are in this human form of life, that is very rare. That means we have taken birth in each of these 8,400,000 species, from being a plant, a shrub, to being an animal, a bird, an aquatic, and then eventually attaining this human form of life. And we don't know how many millions and millions of years, or billions of years we have spent across all these species, and then finally we have got this human form of life which people say is 100 years, but let's say it's more or less 70 to 80 years, and even that there is no guarantee. So it's very rare, this human form of life. So, but then what is the speciality then? Okay, human form of life, but why the human form of life and not any other life? So we're going to discuss this from the lens of consciousness. So consciousness is basically, the soul is occupying this body. The size of the soul is 1/10,000 of the tip of the hair. But the body, the soul shows its presence in the body through consciousness. So although the size is small, as soon as it enters, the consciousness is spread across the body. Just like, let's say, a small AA battery cell in a tape recorder makes the whole machine work like a magic. So it's a small thing, but that's what it's giving the energy. So that electricity generated, that's controlling the whole thing, it's like that's the consciousness with which the whole body is moving. So this consciousness with which the soul pervades the entire body can be at different levels. So according to the Vedic literature, the lowest level of consciousness is called avrata consciousness. The avrata consciousness means there is consciousness, but it is covered. It is not very, very developed. So just like the consciousness of plants and animals. So Prabhupada used to give this very nice example. If you're going to ask a plant, how are you, plant, today? How are you feeling? How are you surviving all this rain, cold, heat? Will the plant respond? No, the plant will not respond. But if you ask a similar question to a human, a fellow human, yes, they will respond. Yes, I'm feeling okay, not too bad, weather is good. And on the other side, if you ask the human, can you actually tolerate all this extreme weather condition, just like the plant, like stand outside in the sun, in the drought, in the heat, in the humidity, in the fires? Human will say, no, I don't have the ability. Why? Because humans' consciousness is more developed, so they have a better, more finer sense of perception. They are very, very more sensitive to things around them. So that's why the plant have this covered consciousness. That's why they can tolerate all this. It's called avrata consciousness. So higher than that is called something called a sankuchita consciousness, which is slightly less covered than the avrata consciousness. So that is the consciousness of all the animals, the aquatics, the birds. So their consciousness is more developed than that of plants, but less developed than humans. For example, the animals can react to different things, but they cannot read scriptures, they cannot inquire, they cannot challenge, do question and answers to understand the purpose of life. So although their consciousness is higher than that of plants, but it's still less developed than that of higher beings. The next level of consciousness is called the mukulita consciousness. So it's slightly higher than the sankuchita consciousness. So mukulita consciousness is like consciousness in a budding stage. Just like if you walk in a garden and you see a flower bud, so that flower bud means this bud has a potential to bloom into a full flower. As soon as we see a bud, we see there is a potential there. It can grow. How it can grow? If it gets the right amount of sunlight, gets the right amount of water, it can right amount of nutrients through earth, then yes, it has a potential to bloom into a flower. But not necessarily. If it doesn't get all those nutrients, it may not. So, or it may grow into a very small flower and not the full flower. But as soon as you see a bud, that means there is potential. And that is this human form of life. It's a budding state of consciousness which can expand, which can grow very easily. And there are also consciousnesses which are higher than this mukulita consciousness. They are called the Viksita consciousness or the Purna Viksita consciousness, established consciousness. And one is in this higher state of consciousness. One can tap into his own consciousness. He can connect to himself. He can connect to others. He can connect to the Lord within and also seek direction from the Lord in the form of Paramatma. So that's a very high state of consciousness that we all are striving towards. And then, when the consciousness evolves, eventually what happens is one unites with Krishna in loving relationship of service. This is how the soul evolves through different level of consciousness. But the key factor of this human form of life is that there is this Mukulika consciousness, that we have, which is a budding stage. That means we are born with a potential, and if given the right nutrients, we can bloom into a flower as well. And so people who basically understand this, that I have got this potential, they try to tap into their consciousness, try to understand their own identity, try to understand who God is and what the relationship is, they can progress. They can progress in this human form of life. Otherwise, if we don't take advantage of this human form of life and progress our consciousness further, so Mahabharata has a very, very popular shloka on this. It says, Ahara nidra bhayametunam cha, please repeat. Ahara nidra bhayametunam cha samanyam etat pashubhir naranam dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharme nahina pashubhihi samana. So basically, what are the animals doing? What are their main primary functions? So it's basically described into ahar, eating, nidra, sleeping, bhaya, protecting, defending, maituna, enjoying sense pleasure, enjoying sex pleasures. So that's what the animals are doing. That's what their instincts are, just to focus on these four things. And as humans, if we are also just doing these four things predominantly, of course we are doing it in a much more sophisticated manner, what the scripture is telling us is then we are not different from animals. We are just animals if we are just focusing life on these four things. So, yes, we say, oh no, I'm different. Yes, we are different from animals if we still do things, but what we are just a well-dressed, polished, educated, sophisticated animal. That's what we are, if we are just focusing on these four things. But then the verse says, dharmo hi tesham. So dharma comes from dhrit dhatu. Dhrit means one which is established, one which gives foundation, one which gives balance. Just like dhara or dharti, it holds everything. So this entire universe is also governed by some universal laws on which everything is being holding, on which all life forms are existing. So when we live our life in congruence with these laws of universe, when we live our life in conjunction with these laws, in harmony with these laws, what we'll find is there is peace, prosperity and progress. So following dharma is very important. But then what dharma should I follow? So that dharma also is of two types. Does anyone want to guess the types of dharma? Anyone? Swadharma. Yes, Prabhuji, very right. One of the dharmas is Swadharma. Adharma. Adharma is not following the dharma, is adharma. Yes, that's the exact opposite, but it's good to know what not to do. So there is Swadharma and Mataji, I read your lips. Parodharma. Very, very nice. Thank you so much. Parodharma. So Swadharma and Parodharma. So Swa means mind or individual, and Dharma means occupational duty, or it can be called as eternal nature. Dharma. So Swadharma, one's own duty. So Swadharma is also known as Varnashram Dharma as well. So there are four Varnas, four Ashrama. What are the four Varnas? Vaishya, Shudra, Kshatriya, Brahmana. Very nice. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And then there are four ashramas. What are the four ashramas? Brahmacharya. Probably your favorite. Yes. Next. Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyas. Very nice. So there are four varnas and four ashrama. And all of us actually fall into one of these So we have got one of the varnas. We say, oh, I'm not following it. But actually, if you realize that your own nature, our nature is towards following a certain varna. And then we all are in one or the other ashramas. And we have to actually take shelter. So if we are not taking shelter of these, we should take shelter of these varna ashrams. It's a science that Krishna has made that society can run with peacefully. Varna and ashrama. So there is swadharma. So we need to follow our swadharma, and there will be peace and prosperity. For example, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 2.31, Swadharma api chaleksha na vikampitum arhasi dharmayadhi yuta shreyonya kshatriyasya na vidyate. So Krishna says to Arjuna, so a Kshatriya's duty is to fight for protection of citizens, for protection of kingdom, but more importantly, for protection of religious principles. So see, Krishna is reminding Arjuna when Arjuna is saying, I don't want to fight this war because of X, Y, Z reasons. So Krishna is reminding Arjuna, you are a Kshatriya. You should follow your Kshatriya dharma. And Kshatriya dharma is to protect the citizens, protect the kingdom, but more importantly, protect the religious principles. So similarly, there is duty of Brahmana also. It's Sama, Dama, Titiksha, Arjavam. So there are similarly duties of Vaishya, there are duties of Shudra as well. And within these dharmas, there are sub-dharmas as well. So for example, if someone has a child, and a father or son has a child, and they are looking after the child, so they are doing the dharma of a parent. Someone has parents, and they are serving their parents, so they are doing the dharma of a child. If someone is a student, it can be in any of the varnas, and they are studying for their exams, they are doing dharma of a student. So we all have different dharmas, and we all are in different stages of our lives, according to which we have different dharmas. And we need to follow these. And even the Vedic scriptures say about the 4 Purushas. They are very popular. The 4 Purushas. Does anyone wants to guess the 4 Purushas? I'll give you a hint. The last one is moksha. Someone says artha, dharma, kama, moksha. Yes, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So this is what the Vedic scriptures recommends. So basically, one does their dharma, one does their swadharma, one do their occupational duties, one do their duties when in their ashrama, then one gets artha. One gets artha. And if one gets artha means all the wealth, all the money, all the food grains, everything, all the resources. And if one gets artha, one can do kama. Kama means enjoyment. One can do enjoyment. And then afterwards, after getting frustrated from this enjoyment, understanding this enjoyment is for nothing, then one can move to moksha. So this is the sequence that's described in Vedic scriptures. It's called swadharma. And if one does, so this is the path that most followers of Vedas take. But devotees of Krishna, they follow their swadharma because they know these are the laws Krishna has made. These are the laws by which the society, the universal cosmos, everything will run properly and nicely if we follow these laws. But their entire focus internally is not on swadharma, it's more on parodharma. Parodharma. And what is parodharma? Swadharma we understood. The varnashram dharma is individual dharma. Now, what is parodharma?
Serving the Lord.
Serving the Lord. Very nice word. Serving the devotees. Very nice. So Srimad Bhagavatam says definition of parodharma. So Srimad Bhagavatam 1-6 mentions Savai Pumsam Parodharmo Yato Bhaktir Adhokshaje Ahetuki Apratihata Yayatma Suprasidati. So it's mentioned, Savai Pumsam Parodharmo, the supreme occupation. Parodharmo, supreme occupation. So there is occupation, there is supreme occupation. So let's say, we make a list of our work, there is task, but there is a priority task, the central task. It's like your boss says to do your work. Your friend says to do this, but if your wife says to bring some ration home or some grocery home, that is parodharma. Because the wife says it. Similarly, when someone is doing any occupational duty, it's okay. Swadharma, everyone needs to do that. But to serve Krishna is the parodharma, because this is what's going to please Krishna, who is the object of our love. So the supreme occupation, parodharma, of whom? Him, who? Is it individual? No. Is it for Savaya Pumsam? For all humanity, for all living entities. So there is no ambiguity of his Swadharma can be different from her Swadharma, but the Parodharma is same for everyone. Savaya Pumsam, Parodharma, Savaya, all Pumsam, all the living entities. Parodharma, supreme occupation. And what is that? Yatho Bhaktir Adhokshaje is dharma by which one can attain loving devotional service to transcendental Lord Krishna. So that is the real dharma by which one can attain this transcendental service to Krishna. And what is the nature of this service? Ahetuki apratihata. Ahetuki means? Sorry, Prabhu? Unmotivated. Yes. And apratihata. Uninterrupted. So the nature of this service, devotional service, is unmotivated, selfless, without any tinge of personal gain in it. Apratihata. And apratihata means uninterrupted. It's not, oh, I got tired by devotional service. Now let me please myself. Of course, we have to look after ourselves. We are Krishna's children, and Krishna would like his children to look after himself. But the desire of the soul is to always serve the Lord uninterrupted. And then what happens? Yayatma suprasidati. By doing this, one can completely please the self. That's the only way actually we can please the self. We can try all the other ways. Eventually it will disappoint us. But if we serve Supreme Lord, then we can be actually pleased, supremely pleased. So these dharmas or cosmic laws are supporting this creation together. And if we do everything in congruence with these dharmas, these laws, then there will be peace, prosperity and progress. But what is the definition of progress? Is it material progress? Is it that we just build up nice roads and nice houses, nice schools, hospitals? No, this is the progress of our consciousness. It's the progress of consciousness of all living entities. It is understanding, it's being aware, it's being conscious that we are not the body, we are the spirit soul. It's understanding, because we are the spirit soul, what is the relationship with the Lord? It is harekrishnatemple. We are loving eternal servant of the Lord. And then because of that, what is our primary duty? It's to render loving devotional service to Supreme Lord Krishna. That is the progress. That's the growth in the consciousness. From this Mukulita consciousness, this budding consciousness, we have to bloom into this full flower, understanding our identity, our relationship with the Lord, and actually act on it. Not just understanding. It's a realized knowledge. We have to act on it to understand, yes, this was what I was looking for. Devotional service to Krishna. That's what actually pleases me. So these devotees who are, putting this temple together, is it giving them any material gain? No. Is it just satisfaction to serve the Lord, to serve the Lord's devotees, because of which the devotees are doing all the service? Why you all are here? Because you want to hear the message of the Lord. Because that's what pleases us. And that's why, we have to grow this, we have to achieve this progress in consciousness. That's why this society it's not called Krishna society. It's called Krishna consciousness society. So Krishna is supremely conscious. He doesn't need to be conscious. He is supremely conscious. He is Satchit Ananda. It's we who need to be Krishna conscious. Because we are currently Krishna unconscious. We have forgotten about Krishna, and because we have forgotten about Krishna, we have forgotten about ourselves as well. We have lost our own true identity as well. So that's the progress, the growth in consciousness from this human form of life. We have got a great platform, like a rocket launcher. We just need to put the right fuel to run things in the right sequence, and we can escape this material world. So, if human form of life, they can practice this dharma. Why can't animals do it? As I said, because animals don't have this intelligence to inquire scriptures or to understand Krishna consciousness. They can't read, they can't question. So this kind of opportunity is not given to the plants or animals. It's a very rare opportunity that the human form of life has given this opportunity to inquire, to question. In Canto, Lord Brahma also speaks about this. So Lord Brahma is the first living entity, as we all know. And Lord Brahma, in Canto 3, in the chapter Kingdom of God, speaks to the demigods. And he's emphasizing the same topic, which is the importance of this human birth. So he says, Ye bhyartitam api chano narkritam papanna Jnanam cha tattva vishayam saha dharmam yatra Naradhanam bhagavato vitarantyamushya Sammohita vitataya pata mayayate. So, Ye bhyartitam api chano narkatim prapanna. So he's asking, human form of life is what we want. He's telling the demigods, human form of life is what we want. Now Lord Brahma is the first living entity. He lives in SaturdayLoveFeast. He has created all these bodies. Of course, Lord has done the primary creation and Brahmadev has done the secondary creation. But he's himself saying, I also want this human form of body. A higher living entity is saying to the demigods, we all need to take this birth in this human form of life. Demigods who are in this amazing environment where there is no suffering, they are living in heaven. They've got all the pleasures of the world. But Brahmadev is saying, no, we all need to have this human form of life. Why? Jnanam cha tattva vishayam saha dharmam yatra. Because it is very likely that in this human form of life, we can understand the spiritual matter. Why? Because we can understand the truth. And the truth is also very nicely blended in this earthly planet, in this Mrityuloka, very nicely blended with suffering and pain. So when we hear suffering and pain and then we hear truth, it creates an impact. I'll give you an example. Let's say you are in a very nice party. Everyone is having nice food. They've got nice facility. There's music going on. Some people are drinking. And then suddenly, a monk comes and tell you, oh, we are not the body, we are the soul. And even if the person acknowledges, yeah. Oh, when is the next song going to happen? When are we going to dance? Immediately they will hear, but they will not act on it. Because they are very, very happy. They will hear it, they might even acknowledge it, and it might even click that whatever the person is saying is making sense, but it's like you hear from here and it gets out from here. But let's say someone close one dies and he goes on to their the ceremony where the person is being departed, either in a church or in a cremation ground. You see a body lying there about to be burned or cremated or buried, and then a preacher comes and says, we are not the body, we are the soul. Suddenly the same words are being spoken, but just because the setting is different, the situation is different, our mindset is different, the same words hit our ears like ointment, because we are so distressed. Now someone is telling us the truth of life, of why I should not be sad about this, because I'm feeling really sad. Now he's telling why you should not be sad about this. And then there is called something, a term called Shamshan Vairagya. Whenever someone's going towards a cremation, everyone acts like a very, very detached person, and they'll talk about the temporary nature of life, how life is so short, what is there in the money. Everyone talks very nicely like that. That's called Shamshan Vairagya. As soon as they go home, everyone's back to normal. Yeah? So this is called Shamshan Vairagya. So, same words spoken there in a party kind of an environment versus same thing spoken in a cremation ground have completely different meaning. Similarly, the demigods, they also read the scriptures. Actually, intellectually, they are much more advanced than us. They have the ability to retain scriptures more than us. They have access to more scriptures than us. But because there is no suffering there is no pain there, it's like a party going on. It's like a perpetual party going on. No weather problems, no food problems, no marriage, everything is fun. So, They hear it, but they don't act on it. Whereas, in this Mrityu-loka, in this earthly planet, it's called Mrityu-loka for a reason. Because we see Mrityu happening every now and then, all around here. Not like everyone's living for, thousands and thousands of years. Everyone's lifespan is so short. Even we see animals dying also. So, because we see the pain and suffering, and when we understand the tattva with the pain and suffering, it becomes digestible. It becomes palatable. Because you see, okay, I am seeing the impact of not understanding this knowledge straight away, and it's causing me already so much pain. I need to understand this knowledge. And there is this different impetus to understand this knowledge. So, jnanam cha tattva vishayam saha dharmam yatra. Because it is very likely in this human form of life, in this earthly planet, there is a chance that we might practice dharma. There is a chance that that budding flower might bloom. And then he further says, Naradhanam bhagavato vitrantyamushya. Now Brahmadev is expressing shock, saying, one who has got human form of life and still not taking shelter of Lord? Alas, how can this happen? Brahmadev is like getting shocked. If someone's getting this human form of life and still not taking shelter of Lord, how is this possible? But then he further says, Sammohita vidadayavad maya yate. He's saying, I'm 100% confident that that person is in Maya. He's being subjected to the illusory energy of the Lord, and he's completely bewildered by this illusory energy, this Maya. So he's declaring that someone's human life form of life and is not taking shelter of the Lord, that means they are in complete Maya. And Brahmadev said that, he basically is instructing the demigods about this importance of human form of life, and he's himself desiring to take birth in this human form of life. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, chapter 13, Maitreya Muni speaks to Vidura. Konam loke purusha kashravit pura kathanam bhagavat katha sudham apiya karnam jalibhir bhavapaham aho virajyeta vina naritaram. So he's saying, who is that human being who understands the essence of human life but still is engaged in hearing mundane gossip or mundane news? Who is that human being? So he's saying basically one is understanding the essence of the human form of life. What he will do? He will do Pura Kathanam Bhagavat Katha Sudham. He will hear about Krishna. He will always have longing to hear about the Lord if he knows the purpose of human form of life. And then he's saying how he will hear about the Lord. Apiya Karnanjalibhir Bhavapaham. Karnanjalibhir. So Anjali, Karna Anjali, Karnanjali Bhir. Anjali. So if you want to receive some prasadam at the temple, how do we receive? Do we receive it like that? Do we receive like that? Or that? Why? Because the prasadam will fall, the charnamrit will fall. We make an Anjali. This is called a receiving mode. Receiving mode for receiving blessing or mercy. And we receive the mercy of charnamrit. So similarly, a person who is really interested in this purpose of human form of life, he hears about the transcendental topics of the Lord, and he makes an Anjali out of his ears. So his ears turn like an Anjali to grab this mercy. He's always longing to grab the mercy about the message of these transcendental topics of the Lord. And then he further says, Aho virajyeta vina naritaram. One who is not a human being will not do this. Very straight statement. So we can assess ourselves how our interest in hearing going on. It's for myself as well. I need to improve this for myself as well. So only who is not a human being will not be interested in about the transcendental topics of the Lord. This means pretty simply he's an animal. So if we don't take shelter of the Lord, if we don't have desire to hear the topics of the Lord, we are not different from an animal. Because otherwise we are doing ahara nidra bhaya maithunam cha. And if one gets this human form of life, he gets this rare birth, how can he proceed about understanding the Lord? How can he start understanding about the Lord? Krishna very nicely says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, Bhaktya mam abhijanate drashmi tatvataha tato mam tatvato nyatva vishate tat anantaram. So Krishna says, one can understand me as I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead only and only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. So in the purport it's mentioned that if anyone wants to understand Krishna, he has to take to pure devotional service under the guidance of a pure devotee. Otherwise, all the secret message about the truth about the Lord all remains hidden. So we have to hear this message from a pure devotee. And on this topic, Keshav Maharaj very nicely describes the arrival of a pure devotee in one's life. So when a devotee is coming in a life, we cannot take it casually. We cannot take it, we cannot be complacent about it. A devotee coming in one life is not just coming in this human form of life. The pure devotee is coming in our journey across the 8,400,000 species. So we were just changing, our soul was changing one body to the other, from plants to animals, to different aquatics, to birds, to beasts, based on our different desires, based on our karmas, based on our reaction of those karmas and gunas. So because of that, material nature was awarding us different bodies. So for example, if someone had desire to go roam without any clothes, just like Nalkuveram Manikriva, the material nature said, material nature is like an engine which never fails. It's a machine. You cannot beat it. It acts perfectly 100% of the time. So if he sees a living entity is interested in like that, they will award him a body of a tree. Okay, you become a tree because you don't like to wear clothes. Trees don't wear clothes. You become a tree. Similarly, if someone has this desire, okay, I want to all the time live in Australia and just be in the ocean. I don't want to come out. I want to leave all my dharma and just be in the water. So material nature observes this, understands the desire, understands the karma, and says, okay, understands the guna, okay. Your nature is not for a human. You like swimming? Take the body of a fish in the next birth. Similarly, someone's eating in meat eating. And then all they think about is eating different kinds of meats. The material nature says, okay, that's fine. You've got this nature, you've got this inclination. Take a birth of a tiger. It's going to be easier for you to have meat. So this consciousness, we are moving based on our desires from one consciousness, based on our consciousness from one species to the other species. And now, this devotee coming in our life is causing this whole cycle to break. This devotee coming in our life is the most important event in all of our lives. Because what he is doing, he is changing the course of action. Earlier we were going in the samsara chakra, taking birth in one species after another and then stuck in the samsara chakra. But devotee is coming and giving us a way out now. He is coming and putting a seed, a desire, a seed of desire in our life to understand about ourselves, to understand about Krishna, to understand about our relationship with Krishna, to understand and not just understand, to actually practice that, practice devotional service. So this is what a pure devotee is doing in our life, putting a seed. That's why we should be always very, very grateful to all the teachers we have received in our life, all the spiritual teachers. It could be our Path Pradashak Guru, one who got us to in association of the devotees the very first time. Maybe someone we heard on our street singing Hare and he spoke to us Maha Mantra in our ears the first time. Or someone who's giving us a Shiksha Guru, giving us a Bhagavad Gita classes lecture. Or of course a spiritual master who's our captain of our ship, whose instruction we are following to get out of this material nature. So this devotee is very important. And he's trying to, what he's doing? He's trying to reunite us with Krishna in loving service. And why the devotee is doing that? What is the reason for a devotee to get other people understand about Krishna? It's not him doing it. It's his bhakti inside that's propelling him to do it. The bhakti inside him asks you, oh, this is also a fallen soul like me. He's also struggling in this samsara chakra in this different species. Let me bring this lost son back to Krishna. It's just like an older brother is trying to reunite the younger brother with the father, because he knows the father will be happy when the brother comes back, and the brother himself will be happy when he meets the father, and he will be happy when they both are happy. So that's the attitude of the pure devotee. He's very, very compassionate. He's naturally very, very compassionate. So what if someone follows his path of devotional service, but then he's not able to achieve the right success before the end of life? He's not able to completely surrender. What's going to happen? Say, okay, I'm going, you're asking me to go on this journey, but what if I don't complete it? So Bhagavad Gita even gives the insurance policy against it. In chapter 2, verse 40, we've heard this sloka a lot of times. Neha vikramana shoshti pratyavayo na vidyate swa alpam api yasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. In this endeavor, which endeavor? This endeavor for devotional service, there is no loss or diminution. Even a little advancement in this path can protect us from the worst kind of fears. Basically, even if we do a small amount of devotional service, it can protect us from the worst kind of dangers. And what is the worst kind of danger? What do we call a danger? Come again. Yes, that's one. But then come again as what? We don't know. We don't know. We are in this Mukulata stage of consciousness, this human form of life, where this budding consciousness has the potential to bloom, and we could go back to this Sankuchita or Avrita consciousness, a birth of a plant or an animal. Our consciousness can get more covered in the next life. We don't know. That is the worst kind of fear. That is the worst kind of fear we have, is falling down to the plant species or animal species and getting further away from Krishna. So that is something we need to protect. So a little endeavor in this path can protect us from worst kind of fears. So how can we make sure we are making the best use of this human life? So firstly, we have to develop this desire to render devotional service. We will not have natural inclination to develop straight away. We have to cultivate this desire, saying to Lord, I don't have any desire to serve you, but please help me develop this desire. We have to pray to the Lord. And we need to start knowing about Krishna. We need to understand Krishna, what he likes, how he treats his devotees. So if you have to do devotional service, so what is devotional service? Doing something that Krishna likes, not what we like, what he likes. And we have to do it unmotivatedly, uninterruptedly. So first, to understand, to do service, if you want to serve your spouse or your father, you first need to understand, you know your father. What's his nature, what he likes, what he dislikes. And then you can design your service accordingly. So to serve Krishna, we need to understand Krishna. And how can we understand Krishna? Through hearing. Through hearing from a devotee. And Srila Prabhupada is the purest devotee. Srila Prabhupada is there. He's written this Srimad Bhagavatam. He's written Bhagavad Gita for us to understand this unadulterated form of knowledge, of understanding about the Lord, about our relationship with the Lord. So we have to do this devotional service. But as I said, baby steps. So what's the first step of devotional service? What's the first step of devotional service? Shravanam. Yes. Shravanam is the first step of devotional service. Hearing. So when we hear about something, we develop interest, we develop desire. So this hearing is really very, very powerful. It's very highly potent. It's like when someone is sick, if someone puts an injection here, the whole body gets cured. It's not that there is a separate injection for the leg, a separate injection for the ears. You put an injection and the whole body gets cured. Similarly, we are having this material infection, and when we hear, we take the antidote of this infection through the process of hearing through the ears. The whole consciousness gets purified. We don't have to do separate endeavors. So it's assumed that when one starts to hear this oral message of the Lord, it is assumed that he has already achieved this eternity. So I was hearing a class on Bhagavad Gita by his great Shamanand Prabhu, in which he mentioned that a devotee, when he even starts to hear about his relationship with the Lord, Sambandha Jnana, like just knowing the relationship, not totally understanding it, not applying it, it's just theoretical hearing. Okay, I heard this today that I am a servant of the Lord, and yeah, I agree to that. I don't feel it internally, but I've just heard it. So even if theoretically we hear this, we already come to the platform of liberation. What's the platform of liberation? That moksha, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. That means all our karmas are nullified. The negative karmas and the positive karmas. That's the stage of liberation. So when a living entity tries to understand about subject matter of Lord, just high-level relationship, we already achieved that. And then when we start to understand more about the Lord, okay, what does He like? What is my duty towards the Lord is? Then we start to receive pleasure. And the pleasure goes on increasing the more we hear. And the more we hear, the more we go to the next step. Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. Then through hearing, we basically progress to these different other processes of devotional service. So this hearing is very powerful. On glories of hearing, it is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam that a moment passed in association of a pure devotee by hearing and chanting the transcendental message of the Lord is a perfect guarantee for eternal life, for returning home back to Godhead. And in Srimad Bhagavatam it is stated that even if the lowest form of human or chandala or dog eater hears this message in association of the devotees, he can also get elevated, no matter what he is doing. We have an example of Mrigari. He was a hunter. He was killing everyone. But just in association of pure devotee like Narada Muni, he left everything and became a pure devotee of the Lord. So therefore, devotional service and guidance of a pure devotee are so strong that there is no discrimination between higher class and lower class of men. Anyone can take to devotional service. And how should we hear? Like we understand we have to hear, but how should we hear? So when Maharaj Parikshit was hearing about the Putna pastime in Srimad Bhagavatam, when it says that Putna actually held Krishna, and Maharaj Parikshit actually got scared. He got anxious. Oh, what's going to happen to Krishna? This demon has got hold of Krishna. What's going to happen to Krishna? And one can think, Maharaj Parikshit, why is acting so extremely? He knows that Krishna eventually grew up and spoke Bhagavad Gita to his grandfather Arjuna. He knows that Krishna actually saved him in his mother's womb. So one could easily conclude that nothing happened to Krishna when he was with Putna, So still, he's so engrossed in the hearing that he's forgotten all other contexts of what's happening around. That's how absorbed a pure devotee is when he is hearing about the Lord. So, another very interesting thing that Shukdev Goswami was told by Maharaj Parikshit about the glories of hearing. So in the 10th canto, when Shukdev Goswami had this desire to hear more about Krishna, he first appreciated the glories of the Lord and then requested him to speak more. So he said, all the various activities exhibited by incarnation of Krishna are certainly pleasing to the ear and the mind. Simply by hearing these activities, the dirty things in the mind immediately vanish. Thus, one's attachment to hearing about material things, which is the root cause of material existence, vanishes. And one gradually develops a service to the Supreme Lord, attachment from Him, and friendship with the devotees who give us the contribution of Krishna consciousness. So this is what Shukdev Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj, who is the in charge of hearing, is telling to Shukdev Goswami about the glories of hearing. So sometimes we think, okay, I have all these mundane desires. How can I get rid of them? We focus more on actually getting rid of these desires, mundane desires. But actually, the only way to get rid of these desires is to hear more about Krishna. It's like if you have to clear muddy water, you cannot take the mud particles out of the water. We have to put more water into it so that eventually the mud particles automatically come out and only water is left. So we need to focus on this this service of hearing. This is the first step of devotional service, and this is how by which we can express, the full form. We can attain this full bloom of this consciousness, human consciousness, and realize our purpose of life. So I'll stop here and ask everyone if they have any questions or comments. Hare Krishna. Looks like all of us understood every word. I'm going to ask later, so sometimes I forget. Okay, so thank you, Hare Krishna. So now we're also going to watch a quick video which was on the occasion of Vyasa Puja of His Holiness Shubhat Swami. So we're just going to play a video on the projector. Hare Krishna.
Yesterday, Appearance Day, and he said that the observance of any pure Vaishnava's appearance is very auspicious to observe. Yesham Smaranamatrena Pavanakshani Shatanisha. Hundreds and thousands of sins are destroyed simply by remembering a Vaishnava. As Prabhu emphasized about hearing in his class, it is actually the hearing of the pure devotee of the Lord which has that effect of reawakening our lost relationship with Krishna. Therefore, it is mentioned in Bhagavatam that what else we can aspire to do apart from begging for the opportunity to hear. Because the pure devotee of the Lord is connected with Krishna, through that connection, when the pure devotee speaks, although the articulation of the voice may seem material, but it is fully spiritually potent, and it can penetrate our heart, and immediately the remembrance of Krishna. Smriti Puna Vismriti Tattvavartani. Vismriti means forgetfulness. So that forgetfulness of Krishna that we have been undergoing for many, many millions of lives, immediately Smriti, remembrance of Krishna comes. When the voice of the pure devotee of the Lord through the channel of ears enters the heart. So he is Holiness Subhak Swami Maharaj. He served Srila Prabhupada personally, when Srila Prabhupada was present in this wonderful world, and especially the final years of Srila Prabhupada's life, Subhak Maharaj served extensively. And also Subhak Swami Maharaj translated many of Srila Prabhupada's books into Bengali language. Also Subhak Swami Maharaj looked after Srila Prabhupada's sister Bhishma in her old age, and he saw to her need. As we all should think about what will happen to us when we become old, and when the body is no longer able to take care of itself. In this instance, it is said that when we are surrounded by devotees of the Lord, then the devotees of the Lord assure that our level of consciousness is Krishna conscious. And through their chanting and hearing their chanting, perfect, and our death also becomes perfect. What is the meaning of perfect death? Meaning of perfect death is remembering Krishna and then going back to Krishna, not coming back to this material world. So as Prabhu was giving the class, and he mentioned that the demigods are having party all the time. So I kind of thought, if they're having party all the time, then why not be there? But we know that that party is forgetfulness of Krishna. And when our punya expires, we again have to come back. But partying with Krishna is the actual party, because party with Krishna never ends. But the party with demigods ends. And therefore the demigods themselves said that three things are not there in the planets of demigods. One, Nayatra Vaikunta Katha Sudhapaga. There is no Vaikunta Katha of Vaikuntanath Krishna. The gauges of Krishna Katha is not flowing. Two, Nayatra Sadho Bhagavata Sadashraya. There are no Bhagavatas or sadhus who are connected with Krishna, who we can take shelter of. Three, Nayatra Yagnesa Makham Mastava. The great Sankirtan Yagna of chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, is not there. And because these three things are not there, the Krishna Katha, sadhus who sing Krishna Katha, and the Sankirtana, the chanting of the holy names, Nayat Suresa Loko Pinavaisa Sevyatam, then even the planet of Indra is not fit for habitation. Oh, you are ready. So yes, I was waiting for you. Hare Krishna. Jai. His Holiness Suvak Swami Maharaj ki. So please here and sit here. Please come this side. Plenty of space is there. Thereafter we will have our
ಹಾಗೂ ಪ್ರವಚನ, ಹರೇ ರಾಮ ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಮಂತ್ರದ ಜಪ ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆದಿದೆ. ಸುಮಾರು 1,500 ಇಸ್ಕಾನ್ ಭಕ್ತರು ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ
His Holiness Swami Maharaj